I am always fascinated to learn the 10 million ways that business owners out there make a buck and have fun while doing it. I got reacquainted to my good buddy from high school, Chris Amos, known on the internet as the Topher, 5 or 6 years ago after we hadn't talked in forever. And I was astonished to learn that Chris had built himself up to be one of YouTube's biggest personalities. Not only that, but in the car space, you're like the guy. So Chris, like, welcome.
I'm
Thank
one
you
of the
so much for
guys.
chatting today. You're one of the guys. Again, there's
I'm
probably
one of
some
the guys.
girls out there too. But Chris, like, why? Just can you walk everyone through really quickly what your channel is, what you do, and kind of where you're at today?
Sure. I mean, I basically just drive a bunch of cars, review them, test them, put a GoPro on my face right here, and all my videos are point of view. So no one will ever recognize me in real life. It's just my hands that are in frame.
You're
And
like a hand model,
I'm a hand model. I'm a
a
professional
car
driver
hand
and hand
model.
model.
I like that. That might be the title
Yeah.
title of the episode here. So, how long have you been? I knew when we were in high school, you were into cars, and we were co-editors
Mhm.
of the school paper together at Detroit Catholic Central. So, shout out to
Yeah,
Mr. P for being the
that's
editor of
right.
our school paper. But you've been into cars ever since. How did you start your YouTube channel, and kind of where is it today?
So I started off with this idea in college. I went to Albion. I was a geology major, but I had a photography business my whole life, or at least since high school. And I kind of came up with this idea for a YouTube channel while just wasting time on the internet. And I really wanted to put people in the driver's seat and create something that had super high quality audio where you could hear the car, experience the car, kind of feel what it sounded like. Because at the time, everyone was doing these really high end car reviews and they cost a bunch of money and they required whole teams of people. And I kind of had this idea for this POV concept where it put people in the driver's seat. It showed people the controls, the steering wheel, the way the car worked, the shifter, everything, and then couple that with um, in-ear binaural audio, which is really high quality stereo sound that kind of you can spatially recognize where sounds are coming from. So I kind of came up with this idea and started implementing it at Winding Road Magazine back in 2011. And I was kind of one of the early pioneers of the POV test drive video genre in the car world on YouTube. And built that channel up to about, now it's at 1.2 million subscribers. But I kind of started my own thing, my own channel, TheTopher, when Winding Road was with about 600,000 subscribers or so. And my channel was very similar, but I was talking and reviewing and kind of giving my thoughts on the cars, whereas Winding Road was no talking, just driving.
Okay. And
So
where's your channel at today? Because every time I talk to you, like I feel like you, me, and the girls do like dinner
yeah,
every couple times a year, and every time I talk to you, the number of subscribers and views is like quadrupling. So where are we today?
it's crazy. Things really blew up during COVID, but just 2 days ago, I hit 700,000 subscribers. So pretty
And
big
like,
number.
just for everyone listening, like that's not how many views he got on like one viral video. Chris the Topher has 700,000. That's almost like a pinky
Crazy.
raising million people that subscribe to your channel and watch it. So, Chris, I feel like what I want to ask you next is what does it look like? Like, how do you monetize that? Because it's great to have a passion, but like
Mhm.
part of being able to do your passion for more hours during the week is how you monetize that. So, how are you getting cars to review? How are you monetizing this? What do both of those things look like?
So getting cars to review, that's like the number one question everyone has. That goes back to Winding Road. Winding Road was, I think it was the first online car magazine back in the day. It had a PDF that they published every week. So they had access to press cars in the Detroit fleet, much like Car and Driver, Motor Trend. Auto Week has press cars. You could basically just grab any car you want in the fleet and test it and review it for a week or two. And that's what Winding Road had. They had a rotation of a few press cars every week. So I immediately had access to just about all the new cars I wanted to film through Winding Road. And then I've kind of continued that over the last 13 years or so. So most of the vehicles I film are press vehicles. So we'll go on launches where they'll release a vehicle for the first time to the public, or you get to drive it for the first time with a bunch of other journalists. And that's really cool because it kind of puts you in the ideal scenario for that vehicle, whether it's like an off-road truck in the desert or a sports car at the racetrack. So that's really fun. And a lot of the other cars are just delivered to my house from the fleet companies here in Metro Detroit.
I feel like your neighbors must think that you're like a drug dealer or something crazy because you just constantly have like G Wagons and Kias and everything in between
Yeah,
sitting in your
Porsche.
driveway like on a never ending rotation.
Yeah, yeah, everything. Kias to Porsches, it's all over the place.
So
So,
what's the second side? So you have cars, they come to you now because you've developed a
mhm,
reputation in the industry for doing kind of like fair, unbiased reviews, positive and negative. And even when you do negative, they still come back to you with more cars. But how do you monetize that? Like, what does it look like? Is it all YouTube ad revenue? How do you turn that into a career? I mean, there's a lot of aspiring
mhm.
content creators out there that I think are struggling with this from a perspective of like how do they turn their hobby and their following into a business?
So there's a whole lot of ways you can make it happen. Winding Road and the Topher channels have always been kind of kind of lucky, kind of outliers, in that the channels have always gotten so many views that we can pretty much just rely on YouTube ad revenue. And
Okay.
it's so easy. Like, we just upload videos. So I basically only really have to do what I love doing the most, which is filming, uploading, posting, creating, reviewing cars. I don't have to worry really that much about advertisers, sponsorships. Um, a lot of YouTubers who run their businesses, they have a whole bunch of things going on. They have sponsorships, they have integrations, they have you know Patreon accounts, different social medias. I pretty much only do YouTube. I don't really touch Instagram. Most of the time, it's not even downloaded on my phone. So YouTube is pretty much my one platform,
So you've
for
kind of
better or for
taken like
worse.
you've kind of taken what you're best at and just gone all in times five on that
Yeah,
one
pretty
platform
much.
and gotten really, really good at it. I think that's probably a great piece of advice because I see a lot of people that create a piece of content that's really meant for one platform. It's meant for Instagram or it's meant for YouTube 99% of the time. And then they share that same thing to every platform, titling it, describing it, doing all the SEO properties the same, and then wonder why it doesn't do well on any of the other platforms or ever really catch fire. And it's because it wasn't the focus. I think
Yeah.
that's probably a great takeaway is that whatever you're designing and creating for, you have to think about how people consume content on that specific medium.
Yeah, and focusing. Consistency is the key. I always say to anyone who wants to start a YouTube channel, go film 100 videos and see where that takes you. See what you learn. Try to always improve your content. Try to make the best type of videos in your space, in your genre, and go from there. But at the end of the day, quality is king. Watch time is king. Finding something that's different from what everyone else is posting. I think I'm always kind of a little bit confused about why so many people subscribe and watch my videos, but I think really at the end of the day, it's because it's different, and there's other people that I've worked with and kind of mentored who do very similar videos that I do, but we all have unique takes, and it's fun to watch their POV content, like Tedward, like Daily Motor, like Winding Road, like Topher Drives. They're all kind of my POV disciples, so to speak, and it's great because we all kind of collaborate and work off of each other. Even though you might think that we're competitors, it's more of a collaboration. It kind of brings the genre up into the more mainstream too.
I would also say from like watching your videos, you're unique in that your point of view, in that the way that you do your videos is unique, and especially was unique when you first started. But your videos are also all the same in the fact that like your subscribers know what they're going to get in every video. You're not changing your shooting style. You're not changing like
Mm-hmm.
the I don't want to say you're not changing the template every time. Like they can compare one review
It's the
to
same.
another because they're all the same. It's just a different car with like a different sound, a different visuals.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
And I think
almost the
that
same
keeps people
route
coming back.
in
Yeah.
every video. I mean, so I'll just take you guys quickly through. I have a camera on my head, I have these microphones in my ears. I start the video with me just looking at the steering wheel, car's off. I turn on the car, talk about some basic information, and then we start walking around it and we go for a drive. That's every video. Whether that's on a racetrack, whether it's on the street, whether it's off-roading in the middle of the desert. So it's a pretty simple format. I try to focus a lot on driving impressions, which a lot of other channels don't spend as much time on. They spend more time on the minute details. I'm not a detail-oriented person. I don't really care, but I kind of gloss over like, the big picture of a car, and I think people appreciate that. But
I think that's something
it's
that, like, I think that's probably something that you've figured out early on that most aspiring creators overthink, right? Like your goal was to create kind of like a template that was easy, repeatable, and that would still give you different content every time, but
Mhm.
would it was a system. I find that in any kind of marketing, most people don't have systems and they're kind of creating something new every time, and then it's a cluster every time that usually
Sure.
doesn't lead to results unless you get lucky and it goes viral.
The one thing that I could like, the one takeaway from this whole interview would be to keep it simple. That's what I've always done with my photography business, my YouTube channel, is I've tried to keep it as simple as possible. I have one camera angle, the whole video. I rarely ever put B-roll in my videos from my iPhone or whatever. It's just POV. That's it. And people almost appreciate that because it allows them to kind of focus. And it's maybe, I don't know. It's just, it's for me, it's been out of pure laziness, but
Yeah,
in the interest of keeping things simple. But um, yeah, I have always tried to really just focus on the craft, the driving, the quality of the content, keeping it consistent, and consistency between consistency and simplicity. It's done well. So
I love that. So what? So let's aside from obviously you have 700,000 subscribers now. So what you're doing in video is a little different than what someone else that doesn't have thousands of subscribers is doing in video. What would you say when it comes to like titling the video, the SEO description, links in the body of it, like other little features that YouTube offers? Like, what tips and tricks could you give other people, whether you do them right now because you need to or not?
I I don't know. I am I've always been super anti clickbait,
Okay.
and it's just worked. Um, I have the same title format for every video. It's the name of the car, and then POV test drive, or POV driving impressions, or POV night drive, or POV first impressions. It's super
Which
descriptive
it's
as
super
people can expect
descriptive,
with
but it's
video
also,
is.
I mean, like POV driving descriptions is a very like SEO friendly keyword, right?
Sure.
Because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
not necessarily trying to get people to come for just for the TOEFR. A lot of people searching for that specific thing are going to find your video based on that. So I think that's
Yep.
something that anyone listening could really grab onto, is that whatever it is that your video does, like break it down to the root main thing generalization that someone is searching for, and have that every single time be in your title to build up that consistent audience. I love that. All right, what else?
Yep.
What else you got? That's the title. What about like
Thumbnails.
the description? What's your formula?
Well, thumbnail is probably the most important thing.
Thumbnail. Okay.
Order of importance is order of visibility. So first thing you see is the thumbnail. Next, you see the title. Maybe you read the first two lines of the description. Most people probably don't. You go straight to the comments. Um, but thumbnail, I keep those simple too. Same thumbnail, pretty much every video. Just it's the interior of the car with me holding the wheel, turning, or parked with just the wheel with the car on. So that's pretty simple too. I don't put any text in the thumbnails. I don't make it flashy. I don't make it bright because everyone's kind of over, you know, doing their thumbnails these days, and they all kind of blend in. I'm just trying to be different and do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. So,
Well, and also at a certain point, every time I see like a super bright, crazy, clickbaity thumbnail, I almost know that they put all their effort into that and none of the effort into the actual content of the video. And I see that when I'm in
who
bed
knows?
watching like a video with my son on YouTube, and he clicks on the bright one that looks the most interesting, and then it's like the worst content that looks like AI put it together without a human even thinking like, is this cute animal video even funny?
On it for me, it's all born out of laziness. I don't want to spend time on thumbnails. I don't want to spend time on figuring out a title. So I just kind of stick with my formula, and it works. It probably isn't the right approach for everyone, but I think a lot of the principles and the things that I've implemented with my channel and with
Yeah.
my business are just simple systems that are completely born out of laziness and unwillingness to do more work on top of, making great videos. And, I try to keep the important stuff pure and good and as well done as I possibly can.
Keep
And the
it to
other
what people
ancillary
like and
stuff,
expect from you.
yeah.
I like that. So here's more of a general business owner question. You've been doing the same thing for years and years and years, and you've been doing extremely well at it, right? Like you're in the top 0.0001% of YouTubers. You're in the top 1% of car YouTubers. How do you stay excited about your business when so much of it is the same? Or is that something that you struggle with?
Um, I think the biggest thing is from the beginning, this was a format that was um, not easy, but less taxing and uh, quick turnaround. I can go out and film a video in an hour. I can come back, have it edited, uploaded, thumbnailed, and titled in about another hour to an hour and a half. So it really only takes me maybe a couple hours, two or 3 hours to have a video from shot to finished and uploaded on YouTube. And a lot of other content creators are spending a day on a video, 2 days on a video, a week on a video. So being able to really kind of take off some workload on my end has made this really sustainable. And coming up with a concept that was sustainable from the beginning was key to all of this, because I just wanted to create a catalog of thousands of videos. I probably filmed 2,000 videos for Winding Road. I have, how many videos do I have on the TOFR? It's either 1,500 or 2,500. It's a lot. I have 1,500 videos on the TOFR that I've uploaded since about 2017 or so. So that's been part of it, is that personally, it's not too taxing and I enjoy it. I love driving all these new cars. For me, it's kind of this journey to find the perfect car, which doesn't exist. The perfect car for me, the perfect car for other people, the perfect car in the category. There's always new stuff coming out. And chances are most of the cars we're driving and testing and filming are brand new.
Right.
I love the car. I've always been super passionate about cars because a lot of my friends are in the car community. So it's a social thing too. I don't know. I just always my brain just is just cars all the time. It's kind of ridiculous.
I love
it's
that.
probably too much.
So I think, the number one takeaway there is that you were able to build a business that you were able to build a business that avoided burnout by creating something sustainable from the beginning. I think any business owner in any category can do a version of that, right? If you think, is what I'm doing today, is the product that I'm putting out something that I could do in the same way 10,000 times and still enjoy it, or is this going to become taxing? Because if it's unenjoyable and taxing at the beginning, it's going to be that way in the end too.
And anything that I don't enjoy doing, I've cut out. I don't really enjoy negotiating sponsorships. I don't enjoy, asking people for money from like Patreon or something like that. I enjoy reviewing the cars and driving the cars and sharing that with my viewers, and that's all I do really. And that's same with my photography business, is I've cut out all the stuff that I don't want to do, and I just don't do it. I just do what I enjoy, and that's a big part of it. So,
have you read the book The Pumpkin Plan?
No, I haven't.
So it's kind of that concept. The idea is like, if you're, and I knew nothing about agriculture, right? Like we grew up in the same area. We didn't grow up on a farm, but the idea is that like, if you're a pumpkin farmer, the minute you see that a pumpkin isn't performing well, or that it's not your favorite, you immediately cut it and throw it away so that all the nutrients, all the effort goes into the ones that are really performing. And it's kind of a version of that needs to be in every single business model, because if you don't, you spend all kinds of time on stuff that you either didn't enjoy or didn't pay off. And I see that struggle in all business categories.
That's how I operate in my life personally. That's how I operate with my business. It's a great philosophy.
Yeah.
So
you probably, just like your wife probably hates you, just don't change diapers because you're not into it. Just kidding. Just kidding. There's some family stuff that you may do that you're not super into. All right, Chris. So walk me through what's next. Like, you have systems, things are working. Is there either like a grail car that you're looking to review? Is there something new that you're doing with the TOFR? Like what could people expect to find in the next year or two from the TOFR?
So you also asked what gets me excited, and that kind of ties into what is in the future as well. I always get really excited about reviewing my own cars and kind of just doing long-term ownership impressions of my own vehicles, because they're cars that I spent my own money on. They're cars that I tinker with and modify and change and perfect and learn about and share with the community. And that's probably the thing I enjoy most about my channel and YouTube and being a YouTuber and being an automotive enthusiast. Reviewing the new stuff, the crazy fast cars is great, but there's nothing like your own car. So I integrate a little bit of that into the channel, but it's always fun switching something up, buying a new car, exploring its limitations, exploring, some good things and bad things about it and sharing that with people, figuring stuff out, solving problems. So
That keeps it fresh.
it keeps it fresh. Yeah, that's what keeps me interested and engaged in this, probably more than a lot of things, because otherwise, that's what keeps me from getting bored. Basically, is getting a new car every year or two and figuring stuff out about it. I'm
I
not
love
like
it.
I'm not a gearhead. I'm not like super mechanically inclined, kind of a shade-free mechanic. But I like to kind of make little tweaks and improvements here and there and on the driving experience and stuff at the racetrack and come back and figure out solutions or here and there, this or that. So that gets me excited. I've got a new car coming in about a month or so. I ordered a Ranger Raptor. Got another kid on the
Oh,
way in about a month or so. So I needed something bigger to hold the family. So I'm excited for that. But that'll
that'll
be
be great.
something new.
I'm sure Ford's gonna get a lot of fun reviews now that now that you're gonna be the owner of one of their great Ranger Raptors.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully,
Hopefully,
it's my
hopefully
first
they'll make a good
American
review.
vehicle. Hopefully, it doesn't just explode immediately.
I would hope. I haven't owned American in a minute, but I've heard nothing but great things from some people who've had some newer model cars. So I'm excited to
Yeah,
see how that works out for you.
most new cars are all pretty good these days. Like everything is super reliable. It's the problems are in CarPlay and infotainment, and that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more frustrating than when I go to plug CarPlay in and it just doesn't pick up for like 30 minutes into my drive and then it randomly fails. But that's not the car. That's technology, and technology
Yep.
is frustrating.
Yep.
Well, Chris,
So
dude, thank you for spending time with us today. I really, really appreciate it. If anyone listening or watching has not checked out the Topher channel on YouTube, check it out, subscribe. Chris, if someone had a question and wanted to get a hold of you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
either comment on the latest video. You can maybe try to slide into my Instagram DMs.
You may
Instagram
or may
does
not.
yeah, I'm just never on Instagram and I'm so bad about checking them. And Instagram does this weird filtering where they filter out a lot of stuff and I don't even get a chance to see it. So the best way, I read every comment on my YouTube channel. Um, that's the best way to get in touch and reach out and say, hey, if you want me to film and review one of your cars, if you're got something interesting, something cool, and you're in Southeast Michigan, you can probably the best way is either to comment and then reach out to me on Instagram. That combination seems to work pretty well. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's about it.
Okay. So I guess my final question is: so I know I've seen it in the past. Do you regularly review random people's cool cars? If someone has
Yeah,
like a vintage '80s Aventador, I don't know if that was even a car back then. Like, are you a Countach? Let's say it's a Countach. Like, are
yeah.
you just going out and reviewing random cars also every now and then?
Occasionally, yeah. When I have time, I maybe do like one or two a month, and that's always fun because I like to have the owner sit passenger seat, give some of their impressions, and
Do like
that's
a
cool.
cars and coffee without the coffee.
Pretty much, yeah, yeah.
I love it. Chris, thanks for your time today. Looking forward to catching up soon.
Thanks for having me, man. This is awesome.